Oh my gosh, is that Miles?
The Toronto Raptors were the only team last season that didn't play their home games at their home arena. With COVID-19 rising in 2020, Canada had banned U.S. citizens from entering their country, which left the Raptors setting up shop in Tampa Bay, Florida. The Raptors went into the season with high expectations after losing to the Boston Celtics in the bubble in 7 games. The Raptors had to deal with something the other 29 teams didn't have to deal with, and that in itself was a bad sign for the season. All the missed games due to injury and COVID protocols and playing away from home robbed this team from developing any kind of winning chemistry. Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka may not have been very productive for the Raptors in their last couple of years with the team, but it's clear that their basketball IQ and defense at that position was missed for the Raptors last season. No doubt about it. The big man position was one of many reasons for holding the Raptors back. Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, O.G. Anunoby, and Pascal Siakam only played 23 games together last season. Having your 4 best players play only a third of your games is a recipe for disaster. But here's the crazy part. When they all actually played together, the Raptors were only 6-17. The main problem was replacing Gasol and Ibaka with players like Aaron Baines and Alex Len. Gasol and Ibaka brought a physical presence for the Raptors in the paint, and they were very important to the Raptors having a top 10, top 5 defense in the last couple of years. The Raptors finished 28th in the league in total rebounding and were 29th in defensive rebounding, which means they gave up a lot of opportunities and second chance points for the other team. All of this misfortune led to this team finishing 18 games under 500, as they finished with a 27-45 record. The Raptors missed the playoffs for the first time since 2013. One of the biggest storylines for the Raptors last season was Kyle Lowry being on a trading block, and it seemed like a foregone conclusion that he was going to be traded before the trade deadline, but it didn't happen. But everybody knew that the writing was already on the wall for his future with the franchise. This offseason, the Raptors and the Miami Heat agreed to a sign and trade, which ended Lowry's career as a Raptor after 9 seasons. He's been with the franchise since 2012, and he played a major role in the franchise winning their first championship ever in 2019. Lowry made the All-Star team 6 times and also made an All-NBA team, and he's the franchise all-time leader in assists, steals, triple-doubles, and made threes. A true legend for the franchise. He has had a lot of accomplishments with his time in Toronto, and with that, the Raptors will retire their first jersey, which will be Kyle Lowry's number 7 jersey. Since the championship team in 2019, the Raptors have lost a lot of talent and championship experience with players like Kawhi Leonard, Gasol, Norman Powell, Ibaka, and now Kyle Lowry. Now the players that are left from those teams need to be leaders and the best players going forward. Siakam and Fred VanVleet need to take the lead role now. This is their team. Siakam has made improvements in his game over the past year, especially on the defensive end. But do you really believe he can be the number 1 guy on a championship contender? I don't believe so. That doesn't mean he's not a good player. There's a lot of good players in this league that are not good enough to be the best player on a championship team. I truly believe that Siakam, for the most part, has reached his ceiling. I don't believe that's necessarily a bad thing. If he has reached his ceiling, the important question is, can he maintain his current level of play for the next 7 to 10 years? And the Raptors were shopping him this offseason. The Raptors drafting Scottie Barnes with the 4th overall pick is even more evidence that this team will be trading Siakam sometime in the near future. There are a couple of young guys that need to take on more responsibilities with Lowry moving on to Miami. The team made a trade for Gary Trent Jr. from the Portland Trail Blazers. Gary Trent Jr. is one of the bright spots for this team. With the season slipping away, Masai Ujiri had to come to terms with players like Norman Powell and Kyle Lowry possibly leaving in free agency. He was able to make a deal that included Powell, and they got back a 23-year-old wing player in Trent Jr. Offensively, he gave a lot of impressive performances in the games he played. In his fourth game with the team, Trent Jr. dropped a then career-high 31 points against OKC. When he gets hot from the outside, it's hard to cool him off. In the game against the Cavaliers, he had the 8th highest scoring game in franchise history as he scored a new career-high 44 points. And he did it on 17 of 19 from the field. Becoming more consistent is something he has to work on, because there were plenty of games where you forgot Trent Jr. was on the court. For the Raptors to be successful going forward, players like Trent Jr. will be counted on a lot to help turn the Raptors back into contenders. He has shown he can be a 3-and-D player, but he struggled to show the defensive upside he had when he was with the Blazers. He obviously has the ability to play great defense, but he has to prove it in Toronto. Malachi Flynn was another bright spot for this team. He was the absolute steal in the late first round in 2020. He was probably one of the main reasons why the Raptors decided to pass up on Jalen Suggs this year and draft Scottie Barnes. Flynn had an encouraging rookie season, which included time in the G League. He had his struggles like all rookie guards throughout the season, but he was able to get more comfortable as he played more, and he showed how good he can be in the pick and roll. He can run an offense and shows the patience and poise to make the right play. He can score, and he's a real pest on defense, but he has to be more efficient on offense. Most rookies really don't have great shooting seasons, so it's not that surprising. Flynn shot 37% from the field and 32% from 3, but he did shoot 80% from the free throw line. He has the same skill set and mindset as Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet. It's hard to say who Nick Nurse will start alongside VanVleet in the backcourt. It's either going to be Trent Jr. or Malachi Flynn. Scottie Barnes played very well in the Summer League. NBA scouts believe he has the upside of a Draymond Green level player. He has the size, defensive instincts, and athleticism to be one of the best defenders in the league one day. He can be a great playmaker and is always looking to set up his teammates, just like Draymond Green. Like I said before, with the Raptors drafting him 4th overall, makes me believe that Pascal Siakam's time in Toronto will be over sometime this season. In that sign and trade deal with Kyle Lowry, the Raptors got back Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa. Achiuwa was a good get for the Raptors, but who knows how long Dragic will be in Toronto. He did show his displeasure on social media about playing in Toronto. I might be wrong, but I don't believe Dragic will be a Raptor that long. I believe the team is currently trying to find the best deal for him as we speak. Achiuwa, along with Khem Birch, will be an upgrade at the center position compared to the start of last season. It might not be a huge upgrade, but it is an upgrade nonetheless. Chris Boucher is coming off his best season as a pro and was able to get consistent playing time throughout the season. O.G. Anunoby is another young guy that the Raptors are counting on to step up and improve. Last season, he did have a usage rate of 19.3, which is the highest of his career, and he also played a career-high 33 minutes per game. Anunoby had an expanded role and still was able to remain very efficient. The Raptors are counting on him to continue to be more assertive on both ends. He has had steady improvement in his second and third seasons in the league. He is a very impactful role player, and he still has room for improvement. But if you're expecting him to become a Kawhi Leonard type of player, you're going to be disappointed. He's a good player, but not on that level. I believe there will be improvements for the Raptors this upcoming season, but more than likely it won't show that much in their record. But if they stay healthy for the most part, they will be better on the offensive end. Their defense took a major step back from the previous years. In 2019-20, the Raptors had a top 3 defense, and they have had a top 5, top 10 defense in the seasons before the last one. With the losses of good defensive players over the last 2 or 3 years, it'll be tough for the Raptors to get back to being one of the best defenses this upcoming season. Defense and toughness was their identity when they was in contention. And I don't know if they have enough quality big man to be able to make a serious run at the playoffs this season. I have the Raptors finishing in 12th place with a 28-55 record. The Raptors only have 3 remaining players from their championship team in 2019. There has been a lot of talent and experience that has left since 2019. And it's just too much of a loss for this team to get back to being a great defensive team that they were. Offensively, they can be just as good with players like VanVleet, Siakam, O.G, Trent Jr., and Flynn. But they are not where they need to be defensively to be competitive in a much deeper and better Eastern Conference. I expect Pascal Siakam to be traded before the trade deadline, and hopefully the outlook for the Raptors will be much clearer.